Are you wondering what winter weather is like in Oklahoma, specifically Tulsa, Oklahoma? So the short answer is it's mostly tolerable, it's sometimes pleasant, and sometimes miserable. But actually, the funny thing is when I was gathering, facts and data to give you about this video, comparatively to the nation is a mild winter, and I would have described it as harsh. I always say that it's cold, and our winters are definitely something that is not one of my favorite parts of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So this video is all about winter weather in Tulsa. You're going to find out if you can be outside in the winter and enjoy outside activities. It snows here, the precipitation here. You're going to find out there are tornadoes in the winter. Then you're going to get great facts about sunny days and sunshine and highs and lows and all that good stuff. And then if you stay until the end, I'm going to give you 2 tips that you're actually not going to find by researching on the internet to get you through winters in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So very important tips that you're going to want to stick around. I'm Sabrina Shaw. I'm a local real estate agent here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I do these videos for people who want to know more about Oklahoma and make that move. So whether you're thinking about making the move in 9 days, 90 days, 9 months, it is never too early and it's never too late to reach out and give us a call. And so today is the second day of winter. I am at the Gathering Place, which is actually one of my favorite places ever. It looks like they are going to have some live music right now. Let's see what I can get you. They're setting up. It's December, late December. So, just right before Christmas. So great events at the Gathering Place. We are in the second day of winter. And so definitely December in Tulsa, Oklahoma is going to be your most pleasant month. But there are definitely ebbs and flows, and you're going to get pleasant days in January and February also. But today, it is December 22nd, and it is 63 degrees, so it is glorious, and not a lot of wind today. It is overcast, so not one of our sunshiny days, but it is enjoyable. Now, I'll tell you that winter is definitely not our prettiest month here in Oklahoma. When I do videos and I'm showing you the videos and all the neighborhoods and everything, grass is dead, the leaves are, mostly brown. Although look, we still have some fall colors right here. But it is just not as beautiful as it is when it's the springtime. What about snow? Does it ever snow in Oklahoma? So yes, it does snow occasionally. Usually we get 1 or 2 good snowfalls a year. And when I say good snowfalls, that's where you're going to have a couple inches. You're going to look out your window. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. You're going to get to enjoy the absolute beauty of the snow. The kids can go out and play. And so when you come in, you get to make the big cups of hot chocolate, which is always so nice. Hopefully you already have sleds, but if this is your first year here, you're probably going to want to go to Ace Hardware, Walmart, and get a sled. But if all else fails and you didn't get it out in time and they're gone from the store, because they will be once you get that first snowfall. Once it starts coming on the weather that it's going to snow, sleds will be the first to go. You can use a cardboard box, do a cardboard Amazon box. It works too, but definitely find some hills and places for the kids to sled because that is super fun. And I'm going to tell you, there are people, if you're going off the highway sometimes, there's some really big hills and drop-offs. And there are people that park and do that. I would not ever do that, but there are a lot of people that do it. The snow is usually going to stick around a couple days, and unless it snows again, it's not going to stay beautiful, because then we've got all the footprints, the dogs have been out, the kids have been out. And so, after that first day, it's not so pretty, and then we're just kind of ready for it to go. So it only lasts a couple days, usually. And because we only get snow a few times a year, really most everybody, unless you're a postman, unless you're someone who has to drive the sand truck, superintendent, somebody that has to be out on the roads and go to work, most people just love a great snow. And a good thing is a lot of the employers, if you have kids in school, if their schools are out, then they're going to let you do a remote work day or take a paid time off day. And before I was in real estate, I was in education. And I am going to tell you, I think I enjoyed the snow days more than the kids did. I can almost guarantee that. Like, snow days were so fun to me because when I was in education, my boys were younger. And so we would have, like, it meant no school. So I didn't have to go to work. They weren't going to school. So we would have so much fun. And you better believe that as soon as it starts, the forecast for snow, you better get to Walmart, you better get to Target, you better get to Aldi's, Whole Foods, wherever you grocery shop, because I'm gonna run out of hot cocoa. Cinnamon rolls, like those were running out a lot too. They're like the canned cinnamon rolls. They're so good, and you put them in the oven and then put the icing on them. I'm trying to remember, it might be Pillsbury, but those are so good. Get stuff for chili, taco soup, like the warm, hearty hot chocolate, like, because all that's going to go pretty fast. Bread, and that's actually one of your tips. I gave it to you early on surviving Tulsa in the winter, because even if it's just going to be a couple inches, we act like we're not going to be able to access the grocery store for weeks and weeks and weeks. The reason being is because once, probably every decade, maybe even every, 10, 15, 20 years, we do get really bad storms, whether that's an ice storm or a snowstorm that keeps us in for, a week, or even I think it's been as long as 10 days. So we have that in our minds, but it's just something we do. We go to the grocery stores and we're excited about it. So you want to get in early as soon as you start hearing there's a snow. Okay, and then here's the thing. If you have kids in school and you know that it's going to snow, here's what's going to happen. The rural schools will usually close a little bit earlier, because usually they try to forecast it, the night before. And some schools will hold off because, sometimes our weather guys are wrong. That actually, happens, I wouldn't say fairly often, but there's been predictions of snowstorms and then we get nothing. But as educators and as parents, we look forward to those snow days since they're so few and far between. But the rural schools will usually close first, and that is because of their bus routes, because those roads, the roads that they have to go bring the buses through, are not going to be treated, many of those. So they know that they're not going to be able to get their buses through there, and they really don't want the kids there getting by the bus stop. So the rural schools will usually close first. Now, Tulsa public schools and the surrounding suburbs, the main roads get treated, so it is fairly easy to get around if there is a snowstorm. But here's the thing, they still, even our big schools that are, right around the Tulsa metro, Bixby, Broken Arrow, Owasso, Sand Springs, they still have some rural bus routes where they have to go kind of out to roads that won't be treated. But here's what happens. So the big schools, they all wait on Tulsa Public. And usually the big schools are not going to close schools, and even the middle-sized schools are not going to close schools until Tulsa Public has been called out. And Tulsa Public usually waits it out until like late in the evening, early morning. But as soon as Tulsa Public comes out, and then you can almost count on it, like you start watching the schools drop like flies. Like Bixby will close, Broken Arrow will close, Owasso will close, Sand Springs, Snowfall, all the schools will start closing. But everyone just kind of waits and takes their cue from Tulsa Public Schools. And then, so here's the thing too. I mean, most of the time if there's going to be snow, like the schools are going to call it, for two reasons. Again, the buses, but us parents are so funny, and if we know that it's going to snow and our kids are going to be in the snow during the day, like, and it starts snowing during school, they're going to come take them out of school, and then they're not going to send them to school the next day. And if you didn't cancel school, the superintendent is going to get called and griped at and griped at and griped at. And so they get griped at more for not closing school, for leaving school open, than they do when they close school. So most of the time they're going to be closed. Okay, and the weather is probably the only time where I want to have my public television on, because I want to watch Travis Meyer. I want to have the News on 6 on, whether it's spring storms or winter weather. He is going to update you. Weather is quite entertaining here, and you're going to want to watch it. And here is another thing. The kids, they still scroll the school closings down, and the college closings, and the business closings, and the church closings. Those things are scrolled through at the bottom. So people do watch those, because even though we have the technology and we have the apps now, if your school closes, you'll know immediately, but you don't know until it's closed. So by watching the other schools, you get like this hope, like, oh, the school closed, certainly they'll close our school. And so it's fun. I'm telling you, it's fun. Okay, now that story is, let's look at some hard and fast data. Okay, so let's take the average temperatures, and I'm going to go through the average temperatures because that's something that people want to know, but you've got to think, like, I think in the winter, the average temperatures, are really going to give you such a misconception because it's the average. So we go from that super cold to that warm. But okay, in December, which is where we are now, the average max is 51. The mean is 41, which is that middle, and the minimum temperature is 31 degrees. January is usually our coldest month with an average of 49 degrees and a mean of 38.5 and a minimum of 28, with February an average of 42. So interesting that February's mean or average is higher than December, because I would have thought December would be higher, really. Okay, and to talk about precipitation, so December, January, and February, we get the least amount of precipitation at any time in the year. So if you look at this, December is 2.4, January is 1.6, February is 1.6. As far as days of precipitation, 6, 7, and 7, not even a fourth of winter. So about a fourth of winter is precipitation. When we're getting that precipitation, it's not happening all day. It's like sprinkle for a little while, shower for a little while, and then you'll clear up. Sometimes we do have the all-day temps for the all-day precipitation. Hey, sunshine hours. This is so important because like the vitamin D and the sunshine, so good for our bodies and with our health and well-being. November, December, you're getting 160 hours of sun a day. January, February, you're averaging month, you're averaging 175. I think when I did the calculation, it was 6 hours a day. Let me think. We just average 8 times 30 is going to be 240, so not 8 hours a day. 4 times 30 is going to be 120. So, 4 to 6 hours a day of sunshine, which is pretty nice. 5 times 30 is 150. About 6. Yeah, about 6 hours a day. And you've got to think, there's the nighttime and the course hours. So during the day, you're getting some pretty decent hours of sunshine. Oh, okay. So that's another thing about our winters. So we drop really cold, typically under freezing. We're going to drop that way in the winter months, December, January, February, even some of March and some of November. On your coldest nights, it's going to be around, 10, 15 degrees. On other nights, on your coldest nights, occasionally we get, to where it drops freezing or below freezing. In December, it's not uncommon to get those 60s, those sometimes low 70s, but high 50s, 60s. Okay, and so for December, this is saying that we average 5 hours of sunshine a day, and the days average 9 hours and 40 minutes. And of those, and so that's not overcast. Right now, it was overcast earlier. It's partly sunny right now. So you're getting about 5 hours in December. Okay, January, coldest month, average temperature, we talked about that. The average temperature is 38 with a max of 48. On the coldest nights, it's going to be about 10 degrees. In January, this is just giving me facts, and it's saying, so, in January, what I'm looking at, one of the sources that I found is giving me facts, and it says in January of 2014, it dropped under 2 degrees. That's in the evening. A lot of times, another tip is leaving our faucets on and letting them drip a little bit, opening the cabinets. And that's more, if you have an older house. When you have the newer houses, they've done some things differently. You don't have to worry about that as much. But, just dripping the faucets and things. Oh, January, there's 5.5 hours of sunshine, average a day. Okay, February, there's an average of 6 hours of sunshine per day. The day lasts 10 hours and 55 minutes. That's interesting. I didn't know that. You're averaging 43, with your max of 54 degrees and your low of 31. Oh, and this fact, in February of 2011, the temperature dropped to minus 11. So let me tell you, when we have those days when they're cold, when we're significantly below freezing, that's another time, a lot of the times the schools will shut down because they don't want the kids at the bus stop, waiting on the bus, being cold, or, what if something happened. So occasionally when we have very, very cold weather, the schools will close too. All right, let's see what else we've got here. Yearly snowfall. Last year, 2023, we did not have much at all. Look at this. We got It was. I do remember that. We got basically half an inch. Yeah, but look at this in 2022. We had 8.7 inches. And this was so funny. This was during 13.5. Oh, no, that's total. Sorry. Funny thing is, this was in 10 inches the year before. I honestly can't remember if it was 2021 or 2022. Either way, the housing market, was crazy. And like when a house came on the market, like you had to jump. So it was during one of these months, one of my clients, oh my goodness, this house came on the market. And it wasn't just like a regular house. It was like a house with land, which, there's fewer of and more, there was a lot of competitiveness in there. So, I drive, a small Infiniti. Like my car is not getting out on the roads. And there's another tip for you. Like if you can avoid getting out on the roads in the winter, when we have winter weather, like do it. We are not used to it. We're not the best drivers. A lot of us think that we are very good drivers and, drive too fast and there's just, wrecks everywhere. So you can stay off the roads. But my clients, they had their big 4-wheel drive truck and they came and got me. So I think we might not have even had power. Like I think the power might have actually gone out or something. It was, it was kind of a crazy storm. And, we were all bundled up. We literally had to like jump a fence because of the road was blocked. And in hindsight, it was just the funniest story. It turned out, oh my goodness, that the sellers did not, their kids did not want them to sell. And they didn't know that the house was going on the market. So the real estate agent was, allowing the showings. And we were like the first showing there, and we got there and the seller's kids were, came in the door and like, what are you guys doing here? Like, it was kind of crazy. It was a little tense. Talk to the agent, talk to them, explain what was going on. But you never know what was going to happen in real estate. But that is probably my craziest real estate story. But that just reminded me of it because it was the big, huge snowstorm. So, February we have had 2021 and 2022, nice amounts of snow. But then you look before that, 2.4, 5.7 here. The average is 5 to 8 inches. We are going to have snow. It's not guaranteed, just like last year. Got a pretty snow there, half inch. That's not pretty. Okay, again, we talked about our rainy days. We're going to have about a week out of the month rainy. Again, that rain is not going to last all day. Storm, 1 hour, a couple hours, but usually not the whole day. Happens, but usually not. That humidity, we have 60% humidity, basically all year round. Some people really notice the humidity in the summer. I don't notice it much. And your best times to visit Tulsa are not going to be in the winter. So you're going to have April, May, and October that are, the best months to visit. And one thing, so when I'm recording the videos, and I'm doing videos for you in December and January, February, it's not the prettiest time. Oklahoma isn't, it's all the leaves going off the trees, leaves are done from the trees, it's just brown and it's not gorgeous. So, if you're watching any of these videos, watch my videos in the spring because I want you to see the beauty of Oklahoma. But there you are, mild winters, and are there tornadoes in the winter? So are there going to be tornadoes in the winter in Tulsa? Very rare. It could happen. It happens occasionally. They are usually very mild and, usually nothing to worry about. So, our tornado season is in the spring. That's when we worry. I have never, ever, ever worried about a tornado in the winter. Yes, they can happen. Yes, they have happened. But very rare and really not much to worry about at all. Okay, so I actually gave you your tips beforehand. Turn on Travis Meyer. Watch the news when you hear that there's going to be a snowstorm. Go to the grocery store, get all your fun stuff to enjoy the magic of the snow. It's absolutely lovely. For the most part in Tulsa, Oklahoma, you are not going to have snow. It's just going to be cold. You're going to want to dress in layers. There'll be enough sunshine for your health and well-being. Don't drive, if you can avoid it at all, do not drive on Tulsa roads winter weather because we are not the best drivers.
and winter weather does lead to potholes. So that is your very last tip, is after we have had some extremely cold, after we've had some extremely cold temperatures or winter weather, watch out for those potholes because we get them bad.
Okay, so obviously there's more to Tulsa than just the weather. I have recorded the best suburbs videos, the best neighborhood videos, frequently asked questions about Tulsa, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Subscribe to my channel, check out my videos, and learn about Tulsa. And remember, it's never too early and it's never too late to give us a call. So whether you're moving in 9 days, 90 days, 9 months, shoot us a text, send us an email, jump on a Zoom call, and we would love to show you around town.